There is the old adage that Republicans say government can't work and then get in government to prove it. And that is what this Trump administration is all about. Donald Trump wants to say that the deep state controls everything, that the government is broken, that we need to get rid of all the institutions. And he's going to try to prove that by breaking them, piece by piece, bit by bit, federal employee by federal employee. And we see that not only with the mass purging of anyone who has done their job and tried to hold Donald Trump accountable in government, but also anyone who has also just tried to do their job, period, full stop. Trump wants them gone because he wants to install his loyalists and he wants to destroy our government so his rich friends can benefit. And one of the ways that he's doing that is lying about giving a federal buyout to anyone who will quit their job and leave. So, of course, he can install his MAGA loyalists in the vacant positions because he can't just fire them all as much as he'd like to and as much as he's trying to. But that, of course, is a lie. And that is why we have to call it out. This is, once again, a way that Donald Trump is really, really going to impact people's everyday lives if they listen and trust him, which I don't know why anyone would. And someone who called out that lie was Senator Tim Kaine, and he's really enraged Donald Trump with what he had to say. So before we get into Trump's meltdown, I want to check out what Senator Tim Kaine had to say. But first, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now let's get into Senator Tim Kaine.
And they received an email that said, from the administration, if you tender your resignation by next Friday, we will guarantee you payment through the end of September, whether or not you show up for work. So tender your resignation, and then, boy, it's just going to be a gravy train. You're just going to get paid for 7 months without working. The president has no authority to make that offer. There's no budget line item to pay people who are not showing up for work. This is a guy who made this promise to contractors again and again and again when he was a private business guy. Oh, come work for me on my casino. Come work for me in a hotel. We're going to do a handshake. We're going to do a contract. The contractor does the work and then finds out they get stiffed. So my message to federal employees who receive this is, yeah, the president has tried to terrorize you for about a week and then gives you a little sweetheart offer. If you resign in the next week, we're just going to pay you for doing nothing for the next 7 months. Don't be fooled. He's tricked hundreds of people with that offer. If you accept that offer and resign, he'll stiff you just like he stiffed the contractors. He doesn't have any authority to do this. Do not be fooled by this guy. You were here before he was here, and you'll be here after he was here. Show up for work, be diligent, serve Americans every day, make their life better, answer their phone call, give them an answer, track down their constituent call. Don't be fooled by a fake offer that because he's terrorized you in the last week, it would be easy to just resign now and get a check for 7 months, because I can tell you that promise is worth nothing.
I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The man quite literally built his career off of scamming people, off of stiffing them, out of their cash, out of their paychecks. There is a long list of contractors who are still waiting for Donald Trump to pay them. Every event that he ever went to, every audio technician that set up his microphone at a speech, I think 95% of them Trump wouldn't pay. 95% is like a low ball. It probably is 99%. Anyone who would trust Donald Trump to write them 7, 9, however many months worth of checks, I really feel bad for that they would buy into that. And I am terrified that so many people will. Because think about a mass government exodus of people expecting to get paid for multiple months who then aren't, who are then scared. And as we know, a majority of Americans can't even afford an extra emergency $500 expense. So paychecks not coming in, the economy falling apart, fewer jobs available, and no one wanting to join Donald Trump's government. We would both have the government in complete chaos, and we'd have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, I don't know how many unemployed people because of Donald Trump who are not getting checks that they expect. That is a scary outcome. And that's why Donald Trump is so upset that it's being called out and responded right here.
With efforts to reduce the federal workforce, whether it's offering what we call the buyout package or other efforts, do you have any concerns that there will be employees broadly across the federal government who might take that up? And they're a part of the many different ways that agencies protect the public, from food inspections to water safety to
I know, but everybody's replaceable, and we'll get very good people to replace them if it turns out to be more than we thought. It could be a lot, it could be a little, we don't know, but we'd love to have them leave. We're trying to remember this. We want them to go into the private sector. It's our dream to have everybody almost working in the private sector, not in the public sector. We have many people, very few people came to work. They were, it started more or less with COVID, but actually even before COVID. But it started with the COVID. They didn't come back. And then Biden let them get away with murder. And we had a federal workforce, like 4% coming into the office. And that just doesn't work. People can say it does, but it doesn't work. You have to be unified in a group in the office. It's just, it was crazy. You don't know what they're doing. And then at some point we may ask them to certify that they didn't have two jobs, meaning were they really getting a check from us, the government, and then were they also working a second job and a third job and, on government time? And many of them will say that they did, which is not legal, but it's a problem. It's a problem. No, we want to get that out. We want to clean it out. People have been trying to reduce federal government now for 40 years, 45 years, and they haven't been able to do it. And this is a way of doing it, I think, very nicely. It's sort of a buyout, too. I think we're treating people very good, but people don't come to the office. They won't have a job starting on that very special date, so we'll see how that works out. I mean, nobody knows how that's going to turn out. Everybody might show up to the office, and maybe a large number won't show up. But if they don't show up, we've accomplished a very serious goal. We're trying to reduce government.
He clearly cannot really get through this lie well enough or explain it, that he really just wants his own loyalists in these jobs, and that's why he's trying to get rid of people. But it's so clear. The mass purgings have already happened, and they're continuing to. And someone who did a great job really explaining all of this in the way that it will impact Trump and his attempts to undermine the Constitution at every corner, every turn, was Rachel Maddow, and I want to take a look.
What they are trying to do tonight is not trying to stop an active investigation. Tonight, they are seeking revenge for law enforcement personnel who participated in a previous investigation that is now over. And the reason that is worse is because the point of what they are doing tonight is to permanently, irrevocably change law enforcement in the United States of America, to make it so FBI agents and prosecutors just won't, in the future, pursue criminal investigations and criminal cases if the suspected criminals in those cases are associated with the president and this movement that supports him. They are trying to not get rid of an investigation. They're trying to get rid of American law enforcement as we know it. They're trying to get rid of the very idea of an independent, justice-is-blind system that makes America who we are. This is not the Saturday Night Massacre. This is considerably worse, and it is hard to see how what happens tonight can be corrected, can be undone, the way the Saturday Night Massacre was undone within 12 days. This is a really serious thing. Now, before tonight, they had already fired prosecutors who had worked on the special counsel's investigation that brought charges against President Trump. The charges for the alleged hoarding and mishandling of classified documents, charges for illegally trying to overthrow the results of the 2020 presidential election. They already fired prosecutors involved with those investigations. What they are doing tonight is apparently attempting a mass purge of prosecutors who worked on all the other January 6th cases, the ones just involving rioters who attacked the Capitol building on Trump's behalf. Tonight, approximately 30 prosecutors who worked on January 6th rioter prosecutions have all been fired. Beyond that, they appear to be in the midst of a mass purge at the FBI. At least a half dozen senior leaders of the FBI have already been told to resign or be fired on Monday. Beyond that senior leadership, though, they're also trying to remove just normal FBI line agents, potentially hundreds or even thousands of them. Now, as I mentioned at the top of the hour, this is still an emerging story. Details may yet evolve as this story develops and we learn more. My best understanding of what has happened thus far is this, and if I stand corrected by the end of this hour, I will not be surprised. But this is what I understand what I understand to have happened just thus far. In an instruction that appears to have originated at the White House, Trump's hand-picked acting officials at the Justice Department directed FBI headquarters to hand over internal files from the Jack Smith cases, from the Trump classified documents case, from the Trump overthrow the election case. They were told, the FBI headquarters was told to hand over those files so a list could be made of all FBI line agents and FBI supervisors who were involved in those cases in any way. So personnel action could be taken against those FBI personnel. So they could be punished, removed, reassigned, or fired. The Washington Post reports tonight that FBI supervisors advised agents that any agents who worked on either of those two cases, the Jack Smith cases, FBI supervisors reportedly advised agents that they should be prepared for the Trump administration to release to the public the names of the FBI agents who worked on those cases before they would then be fired on Monday. So rather than just firing them, they were basically going to tell, Trump supporters, including those who were just let out of prison by Donald Trump, tell them, hey, here's the names of FBI agents who were part of all the January 6th investigations, the ones that targeted Trump. Don't worry, though, they're no longer agents. We're firing them today, so go ahead and have at them. Now, tonight, MSNBC's Ryan Riley has obtained a memo sent by the acting director of the FBI to all FBI personnel. And it would seem to indicate that even beyond those things that I have just described, beyond the prosecutors who did the two Trump cases, beyond FBI personnel at the senior levels of the FBI, beyond FBI personnel involved in the two Trump cases, what Ryan Riley has obtained tonight, this letter from the acting FBI director to all FBI personnel, would seem to indicate that they are planning a massive purge beyond that.
This should really scare us. This is really scary stuff. And we have to call it out. And we are certainly going to on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.